Hello, friends. Happy Sunday. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. So just bear with me for a few minutes here while I make sure that I have everything set up like it needs to be. And as you are jumping on, if you would like to say hi and tell me where you're watching from, that would be great. Okay, I think things are working. So, as you may know, I have been very active on YouTube for the last year, and I record videos and I upload them there, and you can go watch them anytime. And we call that the Stampin' Squad. And so I guess this is the Facebook version of the Stampin' Squad, but instead of uploading a video for you, I can go live. So I thought that I would just start doing that and experimenting with it a little bit. So if you have feedback for me as to how I might improve the live or whether or not you liked it, I would appreciate that. So bring all the feedback. So again, if you are jumping on live with me, say hi and tell me where you're watching from. I'll try to keep checking for comments so I can say hello back to you. And if you're watching the replay, be sure to leave me a comment as well so I can say hello even if it's after the fact. So today I thought I would come on and make a couple cards. I usually create on Sunday afternoon. And so I thought, why not? Let's just do it Facebook Live, and I can have some friends with me while I'm creating. And I see Tasha. Hi, Tasha. It's good to see you. All right, just let me play with my technology a little bit more. Oh, and Catherine's on too. Yay, Catherine. Welcome. That's fantastic. I'm very excited. So I guess it's working. You can hear me, you can see me. I'm not sideways or upside down. You let me know if something goes awry. Okay, so I think that's all. I finally figured out the technology where I can like move my camera around, and so I can talk to you like this, and then I can flip it around and we can create. So I think it's time to do that now. And so I'm gonna flip the camera, and then I'm going to adjust it so it's facing down on my work surface. So if you get motion sickness, close your eyes for a minute. I'll let you know when it's safe to open your eyes again. Okay, so let's see if I can make this magic happen. And I think maybe we're gonna get there. That's exciting. Little things make me very excited, apparently. But yeah, we're gonna get there. Okay, let me just tighten this so it doesn't go all wonky in the middle of things. You don't want to slip and slide while we're doing our live. So there we go. I think that's stable. And so here are two cards that I'm going to make this afternoon. Actually, we made these cards in a Valentine class that I had last week. So if you are local and you're interested in classes, I hope that you will contact me, leave me a comment, send me a message, and let me know that you are so I can make sure that I tell you when something's coming up. I'm certain there'll be an Easter class. And there might be something before then too. So let me know if that's something you're interested in. Okay, these are the two cards. Let's start with this one. And first I want to show you some of the things that we're going to be using to create this card. We're going to use a stamp set called Country Bouquet. And this is in the mini catalog that just went live at the beginning of January. And that catalog is live until the end of April. So these are the stamps we're going to be using. We won't use every single one of them, but we will use several of them. So that is the stamp set, Country Bouquet. And then other thing we're going to use today are these basic white note cards and envelopes. And I love these. So they're a little bit smaller size than a regular card that we might make. But so they're more like a note card size. But the card bases are in here. They're already scored. All you have to do is fold it in half. And then it also comes with envelopes. So this has 20 card bases and 20 envelopes. Comes in a great pack like that. And so it speeds things along when you are going to make a card. All right, so first I'm just going to take this card base. Let me set this out of the way. And I'm going to fold it in half. As I said, it's already scored here, so that makes it really easy to fold. And then I have a tool that I love to use. It's called a bone folder, and you can just use it to burnish this crease and make it really crisp. So just going over that a couple times, it breaks down the fibers in the paper so that your card is not like flying open. It wants to lie down and stay closed. And that makes it a lot easier to work with. Okay, so the other pieces and parts we have, this is a piece of mint macaron cardstock. And let me grab my ruler so I can tell you the measurements. It is 3 inches wide and it's 4 1/4 inches this way, okay? 3 by 4 1/4. And then I have this piece of designer series paper. It's called Country Gingham. This is also in that mini catalog that I just referenced. And what I've done before we came on today is I took a piece of that paper and I used my scalloped contours dies and die cut a piece out from that Country Gingham paper. And you know, it's fine if you don't have a die cutting machine and you just want to cut the paper into a rectangle. I would say, let's see, you would cut your paper into a rectangle that's about 2.5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And when you do that, then it's going to fit right inside the piece of cardstock and just leave a nice margin there, a nice frame around it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my multi-purpose glue. This is my favorite adhesive. And I love it because I am not the world's greatest at getting something centered or exactly where I want it at the moment I put it down. And so the glue is very forgiving. It allows me to make some little adjustments and move things around a little bit if I need to. You can see I'm moving it just a little bit. And then I'm just going to smooth it out, press it down. You don't have to use very much of this glue because it is super, super strong. So we're going to take this now and we're just going to use the glue again and we're going to attach it to the front of our card. So let me grab the glue and I like to say it's kind of like drawing the glue on the cardstock. The tip of the glue is actually touching the cardstock and barely putting any pressure on that just to get a little bit of glue out. And kind of eyeballing that to get it right where I want it. And again, pressing it down so the glue spreads out and makes a really good connection between my cardstock and my card base. Hey, hey, it's Susie Q. Susie Q is in the house. Hi, Susie. She's watching from New Jersey. Yay! Thanks for coming on. I'm so excited that you're here. All right. That's why I love these online events because we can come from all different places, but we can all come in here together and do something fun together. So I just love that. All right, let me grab a piece of white cardstock. because we're going to do a little bit of stamping. All right, this is just kind of a large scrap, and what I want to do now is stamp this pattern. So you'll see these flowers and hearts are one color, and then the leaves and the stems are a different color. So we are going to stamp the flowers and the hearts in Sweet Sorbet. So this is my Sweet Sorbet ink pad. Let me open that up. And I've already mounted my stamp onto my block. All right, I've already done that. And you'll see this stamp looks pink. It's just stained. These photopolymer stamps, they're actually clear. So this is what they look like when you open the box, open the little package and take a look at them. They're clear. But if you're using purple ink, red ink, pink ink, maybe even orange ink, a lot of times it will just stain it, but that's all right. It works fine. You can use any color. If I wanted to use yellow on this would be fine, as long as you clean the stamps between uses. So let me get some ink on this. And so I'm just going straight up and down, applying some pressure, but not just driving that down into the stamp pad. That's not necessary. And then I'm gonna go straight down to my cardstock, and I'm gonna hold it in place here for just a minute with a little bit of pressure. And then lift up. And now we've got our flowers and our hearts. So we're gonna do the same thing with the leaves and the stems. Oh, Catherine, yeah, I know, right? You've never seen a stamp like that before. Do you remember the ones where they used to always be mounted on wood? That's what I remember. Before I started stamping, you know, a few years ago, I just remembered many years ago when everything was mounted on wood, and so it was permanent. Yeah, and that took up a ton of space if you were going to collect stamps. It's different now. Technology changes everything, right? So straight up and down. And now because the stamp is clear and the block is clear, I can look through and I can decide where I want to go and stamp this, all right, where I want to stamp down. And this is always so much fun trying to do that while my head is right next to the camera, but I think we're gonna get it. All right, so just hold that in place for a few seconds and lift it up and look at that beautiful image. And it was not hard to do. I'm never cease to be amazed by how easy it is to create something really beautiful. So now I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I am gonna grab a heart punch. Oh yes, yes, Catherine, hold on a second, let me show you. So here's the stamp set. So when you open the stamp set, it has all these little stamps in here. Here's one, for instance, right? This has little flowers, a few little leaves on it. Super cute, can you see that? And it's photopolymer. And so what you do with it is then you just take it, and I don't have, wait a minute, I might have, yeah, I do. I have an empty block here. So I have these blocks, and I have several different sizes because the stamps come in several sizes. And you just take this and you put it on there and it sticks. And then you use it, and then you would clean it off, clean the ink off of it, and then you take it off here and you put it back into the case, and it just sticks right there. And that's how you store it. So it's fabulous. It's really fabulous. Thank you for asking. All right, back to our card. I'm going to take a punch that is a heart-shaped punch here. The light makes it a little bit hard to see, but there is a heart shape there. And I'm going to use this to punch a heart out of this stamped image, right? So if you remember on our card, we have a heart here, and then there's a scalloped heart around the edge. So we'll get to that in just a moment, but let's do this first. So I'm going to unlock it, and I'm just going to take my cardstock and put it in here, and I'm going to put it where I want it, and then just like that, now we have our image on a sweet little heart shape. So let me see. Now I want to grab, somewhere here I have my desk, stuff all over it. I want to grab a piece of cardstock. This is Sweet Sorbet. If you remember, that's the color of ink that we used on this image. And now I'm going to grab that scalloped heart, and I'm going to punch out a piece of cardstock that is the scalloped heart. And then we're going to go back to my wonderful liquid glue, and I'm going to glue these together. So just a little glue on here will work to hold those two things together. It doesn't take much. There we go. Just pressing that down. And remember our card base, so this is going to go on here. But we also want to put a sentiment. And the one I have chosen is I love that we are friends. That's also in the same stamp set right here. I love that we are friends. So that's the stamp we're going to be using, and I've already mounted it on a block here. So I need a little piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to use that mint macaron color. So let me ink up my stamp straight up and down a few times, and then let me see if I can get this on here reasonably straight. Holding it in place for just a minute, and then there we go. I love that we are friends. Oh, it's so cute. It's so fun. I had one person at the class the other night who was so amazed at their own work. That's so much fun. They said, wow, it looks like it was printed on there, like professionally printed. I'm like, yeah. These tools make it really easy to make a beautiful card. Now I'm using a stamp from the same stamp set that has two little hearts, and I am just going to stamp those right here on the end. I love that we are friends with our little hearts. Super cute. Now, I am going to take my paper snips here, and I'm just going to create like a little angle on the end of this just for a little interest. Certainly not something you have to do, but sometimes I get bored with the edges that are always, you know, squared off exactly the same. So just for something a little bit different. Now we're going to put that on here, and then our heart is going to go right here on top of it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down, and I'm not going to bother to trim the other end, even though it's kind of long, because it's going to be under the heart. So no one will see that part. And so we don't need to do that. We don't need to go to that trouble. There we go. Glued down. And then for the heart, instead of just gluing it down, and I could certainly do that, I'm going to use dimensionals. Here we go. Here's some dimensionals. And these are, let me pull one off and show you if you're not familiar with them. This is a little piece of foam, basically. And you can see that there's a little bit of, you know, height, I guess, height to it. And so it's got adhesive on both sides. So I'm just going to take this and put it on my heart. Let's put one on here too. and here. And then I'm just going to peel the back off of there, and then it'll be sticky, and I can put it on here. Press that into place, and then let me hold this up so you can, maybe you can see how this is. I don't know if I'm holding it right, but you can kind of see how the heart is lifted up a little bit. So that just makes it look even fancier. All right, the last thing I wanted to do for this card is let's add some bling. I love adding bling to my cards. And so for that, I'm going to use these rhinestone basic jewels. They're self-adhesive, so they're stuck to this piece of plastic. And we're just going to lift them off and then just stick them right on our paper here. But before I do that, I'm going to take one of my blending pens. These are called Stampin' Blends. They come in sets of 2. There's a dark and a light of the color. And guess what color this is? Sweet Sorbet. So we use Sweet Sorbet ink, and we've used Sweet Sorbet cardstock. So let's use the Sweet Sorbet blend. This is the light one. And I am going to add a little bit of color. Let's see if you can see that. I'm going to add a little bit of color to that rhinestone. So, you know, it'd be fine to put clear ones on here, but, you know, let's make them Sweet Sorbet since we can, right? All right. Now, I'm just letting that dry for just a few seconds. And then I'm going to use this tool. It's called a Take Your Pick tool. And I've already pulled this end off of it. But this end has a pointy end, and it also has kind of a scoopy end. Oh, very technical terms. And then this end has like some putty that's a little bit sticky on the end, and you can use that. I'm going to press down and kind of slide, and it comes up on the end of that. And then I'm just going to put it down on my paper. Let's do one there and one there. One more. Okay, let's put one here. There we go. How do you like that? You know what? Let's add something. Let's add, I'm going to grab those little hearts again. Remember these little hearts? And I'm just going to stamp those on the inside of my card. Because I don't want the card to be completely blank on the inside, right? Let's put these right down here in the corner. There we go. Adorable, adorable card. And since our card bases come with envelopes, right? Let me bring an envelope out here. And you see it's just a regular, nice little envelope. These are really wonderful for stamping. You know, you can go to the stationery store and buy envelopes, but they're not made to take up the ink like these envelopes are. So if you're planning on stamping on your envelopes, I would definitely say buy the envelopes from Stampin' Up! Because they are created for that. So I'm going to take this other little stamp that has 2 hearts, but it's just the outline of the hearts. And let's put that on the front corner. And then let's put it on this back corner as well, on the corner of the flap. Okay. So we've got our envelope and we have our card. What do you think? Thank you guys. Okay, let me kind of just look through the comments a little bit. You guys are the best. Okay, good. Yay, pointy and scoopy. That is right. Write that down. That's the official terminology. Thanks, Susie. I'm glad you like it. All right. Well, we're here, so why don't we make another card, right? Let's just make another card. This one, let's see. How about this? We're going to change it up just a little bit. We're going to do something slightly different from what you see here. But that'll be fun, all right? Okay, so again, I'm going to start with my card base. Find it over here in my pile of stuff. So here's my card base. It is scored, and I want to fold it in half. And let's see if I can figure out what I did with my bone folder. There it is. All right. And I'm just going to take this and run it back and forth along here to give it a really nice crisp fold. Okay, done. Then, again, we're going to start in a way that is similar to the last card. I have, again, a piece of cardstock. This time it's balmy blue. Don't you love the color names with the alliteration? I love that. I wish I had a job naming colors for them. So we had balmy blue, we had sweet sorbet, and we had mint macaron. It's so much fun. I love it. And this is the same size as the last one. It was 3 by 4 1/4. Okay. And then, again, I've taken a piece of the country gingham paper and I've run it through my die cut machine with a die from the Scalloped Contours die. Those are in the annual catalog if you're looking for those. I love those dies. There are several different sizes of these rectangles. I use them a lot. And so if you don't have the dies, no problem. This is 3 3/4 by about 2 1/2. Okay, so let's just glue these layers together and have that done. And you'll notice I didn't mention it on the last card, but these papers are two-sided. So you always have a choice of which side you want to show, which is great, except sometimes it's hard to decide. I can't decide which side I want. Lots of choices. Okay, so I've got my liquid glue. We're gonna put this down. I'm gonna scoot it just a little bit to get it where I want it. And I'm gonna scoot it down just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, and then let's put this on our card base. There we go. Great, and just pressing it down to make sure the glue is distributed underneath there and everything is really adhered well. Okay, now I'm going to set that aside for a minute. Let's talk about a couple of things. So when I made this card, the heart and the leaves are actually from a piece of designer series paper. It's called Country Floral Lane, and this is part of a piece. These sheets of paper are actually 12 by 12. So this is part of it. And then you'll notice these hearts and these leaves, all right? Does that look familiar? Hearts, leaves. That's what I used. And Stampin' Up! Has a punch. They designed a punch that will punch out both of these hearts and 2 leaves all at one time. So I had used my punch and punched out a lot of these images, and I was using the hearts and the leaves to make my cards. So that's fantastic. This punch, so many of you loved it and ordered it that it's not available right now. So if you didn't already get it, you're gonna have to wait a while. It is supposed to be back in stock in April. And if you're thinking, oh no, Valentine's Day will be over, that's true. But it's always great to have a heart punch, right? I mean, there are many cards that you might want to punch out a heart and decorate your card with. So that if you have this punch, you can use it on your paper. If you don't have it, here's the good news. If you don't have it, these images are easy to hand cut. right? Those would be very easy to hand cut out. So you could cut them out with your paper snips. I've cut out things a lot more complicated than those hearts, and it's no big deal. All right, so instead of using the paper, I thought today we would actually stamp a heart and stamp some leaves. So let me find a piece of white cardstock. There we go. And here's the stamp out of that stamp set. And these two little hearts are actually attached to one another. That way, if you were stamping both of them, then you could use the punch and it would be lined up perfectly to stamp these out at one time. All right, so that is why it's designed that way. Today, I don't need both hearts. I'm just going to use this large one. So let's bring over the Sweet Sorbet again. And I'm just going to ink up the large heart. There we go. And then I'm going to stamp it on here. So straight down, just hold it for a few moments and then pick it up. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and punch that out. So I'm going to use this punch. Again, you could scissor cut that. That would not be hard. But because I have the punch, I am going to use it. So I'm just lining up the heart in there. And then we're going to punch it out. I love punching when things go flying. That's kind of fun. It's like a little celebration. Okay. So there's our heart that we will use. Now we need some leaves. So I'm going to go back to this mint macaron and stamp some leaves that we can punch out. Let's see. Here are my leaves. And again, they have connected these two leaves, so they're exactly the correct width apart to be able to stamp, to be able to punch both of them out at the same time with your punch. So let's do that. So I'm going to ink it up. And I'm just going to put this right here. Hold it down for just a moment. There we go. Wonderful. All right, again, scissor cutting, you could absolutely do that, no problem. But I am gonna punch. That'll save us a little bit of time today. So I'm trying to be careful and line this up. You notice it does leave a little white margin right around the edges. Come out of there. There we go. There we are. 2 leaves. Perfect. Okay, so now we need to do a stem. And so all I did for the stem was to take one of those blends, one of the blend pens, and I just drew a stem and then I cut it out with scissors. And you know, on this one, when I did it, I was using Mossy Meadow. So it's a little bit different color than the mint macaron. So hold on just a minute. Let me see if I have a blend in the mint macaron. And if I don't, then we're just gonna use the Mossy Meadow. That's what we have, that's what we're gonna use. That's the way it works. You know what, I'm just using the Mossy Meadow. So I'm using the light one, and I'm just gonna draw kind of a curved little stem there, like that. And then I'm just gonna cut it out. Now, I'm gonna leave a white margin, just like we have when we punch things out. Always have that little white margin. That makes it a lot easier to cut out with scissors. Because if you're trying, at least if I were trying, to cut it right up against the pen mark, I would not do a good job. I would not do a good job. But I can handle this, I think. Let me get rid of some of this. There we go. All right. And almost done. All right. Awesome. Okay, so we've got our heart, we've got our leaves. We can go ahead and put those on here, and then we're going to stamp a sentiment and put on, as you see right here. All right, so let's think about how we're going to place this. I like to, when I have a lot of pieces that I'm going to use together on a card, I like to, what I call dry fit them, just to make sure that I know where I'm headed and how things are going to fit together. So I think this looks pretty good. I'm going to do those like that. The main thing is I just want to kind of get an idea of where to put my stem. All right, so let's put the tiniest little bit of glue. There we go. Getting a little bit of it on there. Perfect. Put this on here. And even though it's a little bit different color, I don't really notice it. All right, you can tell me what you think. Then I'm going to glue on these leaves, because we're going to put all these other little pieces and parts on here, and then we're going to actually put a sentiment along the bottom. A little more glue. And let's put that one right here. All right, now for our heart. Let's use some dimensionals again for that. So I'm looking on my table here because I know we have dimensionals. Here we go. Here they are. So let's put a few dimensionals on the back of this. And I'm putting several just because I don't want it to get mushed. We also have dimensionals in a smaller size. They're called the mini dimensionals. So sometimes those are nice to use as well. So here's my cute heart. It's kind of doubling as a flower, I guess, in this instant. There we go. Put that on. And now let's stamp our sentiment. It's Happy Valentine's Day. So let me grab that stamp, Happy Valentine's Day. You can see that this one is stained as well because I've been using lots of reds and pinks with this stamp. And so let's see if I can get it on here reasonably straight. Hold it just a moment. Oh, we did just fine. Okay, set that aside. And again, just for fun, I'm going to trim this at an angle. Oh, hey, Julie, welcome. Glad you could stop in. All right, so now I'm going to put dimensionals behind this and put it right across this. There. And this piece is just wide enough for these large dimensionals. Remember, we do have the small ones. If you've got a real skinny piece of paper or something real fine, that these big ones be too much. But also, you can cut these. You can cut these to any size. So you could cut them down to be smaller if you wanted to. Here we go. And here's our Happy Valentine's Day. How cute is that? All right, let's grab those little mini hearts again, these little tiny hearts, and we're going to put those on the inside. Right down here in the corner. There we go. And then while I have this ink pad out, let's grab the envelope and use these outlines of the hearts again. And we'll put them there. Now I'm just choosing something pretty simple here. You could decorate this envelope any way you wanted to. And there. All right, let me close up my ink pad. And now, what's left? Who knows the answer? The last thing we need is bling. We need bling. Okay, so I'm going to use these pastel adhesive backed sequins, and I'm going to use the blue ones. And let me grab my tool, my take your pick tool. And I think, let's see, I'm going to use one of these larger ones and put it right here. And then let's use a couple of smaller ones. Put one here and one more here. So there we are, another cute envelope and card, Valentine card to send. And they were easy. Easy peasy. Let me bring the other one back that we made earlier. There we go. This is like way over on the other side of the table. How did it make its way over there? I don't know. But there we go. There are the two cards that we created. Tell me what you think. Oh, bye, Catherine. Bye, Catherine. She's doing a live Facebook this afternoon too, so she has got to go. So here we go. That's what we ended up with. Let me know what you think. And while we're here, just a couple of things. I wanted to show you a couple other projects that I made with some of these same materials. So I do have a couple of cards. So if you want to make those cards at home, you can certainly do that. You just stop and start this video to grab whatever instruction you need. Down in the comments and in the description, I will also put some information about what you would need to make those cards. Here's another card that I made. You'll recognize those hearts and some of this paper again. Super cute. And there is a video on my YouTube channel that shows how to make this one. One more, this one. There's also a video for this card. And this card is kind of special. You open it up and you can see the Happy Valentine's Day in this cute little heart. And then you can set it like this, and let me hold it up so you can kind of see. But as it's sitting on the desk or on the mantle, it's standing up. We call this an easel card. So there's that one. And then just a couple of other fun things. I just put up a video on Friday of these little treats. They've got 8 Hershey Kisses in them. So all the instructions for that are in the video. Super easy, very cute. And then I've got one last project I wanted to show you. And that's these little goodie bags. They have those Dove Promises dark chocolate in them. But these are cute Valentine treats too. So I just want to say thank you for stopping by. And I hope you enjoyed the live. And my technology seemed to work pretty good today. So I think we'll do this again. I think we'll do it again. Let me know if there's something special you want to see, because I'm always looking for good ideas and wondering what you're wondering about. So leave me comments and let me know. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's almost over, but we still have a few hours left. So enjoy that, and I will see you here again very soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.